now underway. Our professional women, 750 metres here in our Quintana Roo swim. No one is going to be overheating today on this run. I think it's going to be good conditions for the run. It is slightly windy, so the wind will definitely play a part. And of course, we've got Minttu Hukka, also from Finland, having a very strong race, not too far behind her fellow countrywoman. So who would have thought that we would have two Finnish athletes in the top 10? Brilliant racing from both of these women here today. So Minttu Hukka also home in 7th place.
On the 7th position for Finland, Minttu Hukka. 6th position for Finland as well, Ida Leini. On the 5th place for Switzerland, Amalie Sippel. On the 4th place.
Me. Auto.
Hello, welcome back to the vlogs. I am back home now and oh my gosh, I am so exhausted. It's Wednesday, May 28th today, and it's been 2 days since my last race. So if you follow me on any other social media platforms, you may have found out that I did 2 races instead of just 1. So I'm going to tell you the backstory and then going to recap both of these races. So first was the race in Samorin. So that race was definitely 100% planned and it went well. So I got 7th there, and that race was just a little bizarre. So in the morning of the race it was raining and cold and the water temperature was 12.5 degrees. So we were told that the swim got shortened to 750 meters, which was obviously a good thing for me. But the water was really cold. There was all kinds of stuff happening in the morning, and then when we got to the water, the race just suddenly started, and not everybody realized that that was the start because it just happened really fast and not everyone had like taken their positions. I think I swam okay first, like okay for me first, but then I just kind of like didn't have like second gear for a shorter distance, so I got dropped, and I got to T1 and I had planned to put gloves on, and I kind of scrambled there and dropped one of my gloves when I was running to my bike, and that cost me some time. But I had decided to ride really hard, and that's what I did basically the first half. So I rode pretty hard until maybe 50-ish K when I finally caught up to the second group. So there were 2 main bike groups. One was basically the 3 first women out of the water, and then the second group was other stronger swimmers. And I rode really hard and I got to the group and I was so stoked to be there. And that was kind of my first time being in a bike group in race. So I didn't really know what to do. That race didn't have race rangers, so I was kind of like just following along, looking what the other women were doing, trying to stay intact there, but also like stay within the legal limits of drafting. And unfortunately, I got a drafting penalty for the first time in my life, and it felt really unfair because I had worked super hard to get to the bike group, and there were a lot of other women who were maybe also within the limits of being in the draft zone. So it wasn't like that I was like doing something out of what the other women are doing. So it felt really unfair because they just gave me a drafting penalty. And I screamed at the official and I was arguing. And then I realized that like maybe I should just shut it and accept my fate, because I didn't want to get another penalty for yelling at the official. Then another woman ended up getting a penalty in the same group, and then later I learned that in the main, like the leader group, 2 other women had got penalties. And that was interesting because I saw a lot of like in the men's race too, I saw a lot of groups forming, and none of the guys got penalties. So I don't know why women were penalized more than men, but that was how it was. But I was excited because I got to experience the penalty box for the first time too. I had never been there, so now I know what it's like. But it sucked because I had to serve the 2-minute penalty right before T2, and I was going into T2 with about like 8 other women. So then I lost touch with that group and had to play catch up during the run. Then I got to T2 and got my shoes on and started running. And it felt kind of weird first because I hadn't done a lot of bricks this spring, but I found a nice rhythm. I really love the run course, actually. There are a lot of women that I talked to who were kind of like not sure if they loved the run course in Samorin, but I loved it as a former cross-country runner. I really enjoyed the changes of like the different surfaces and like grass and gravel and like just kind of like a dynamic course, and I just thrived in that. So I passed a lot of women during the run, and it was super motivating, and I felt good running, and ended up finishing 7th place, which was a huge deal for me because I didn't really know what to expect from this race. And also like I had fears of getting cramps before or during the race, which I didn't. So this was my first race for a long time where I managed to race without the cramping issue, and I think that was like the main outcome and the biggest victory out of this race. But also finishing in top 10 was cool because I did not expect myself to do that, and I think that was kind of like the goal for me in this race, that if I finished top 10 that'd be cool, and I did. And it was awesome because we were 3 Finnish women in the race and all of us finished in top 10, so we got to go to the awards together, and it was a fun weekend overall racing. But yeah, I was super nervous before the race, and I told Robert before the race that this is my last race ever. I'm so scared and like nervous, and I don't want to do this anymore. Like, why am I doing this? And then obviously race went well, and I felt good and everything. So then I was like, okay, I'll take that back. The next day I talked to this Finnish professional man who was coming to race in Challenge St. Pölten, that was in Austria and about 160 kilometers from Samorin. And he said that, why don't you stay and just like do both races, like just stay around and race back-to-back weekends. And that was something that I had thought about a while ago, that would be a cool thing to do. But since I cramped up in Singapore and I hadn't had a race where I didn't cramp up since before my traffic accident, I was too nervous about signing up for double trouble of racing. But since Samorin went well, I started thinking about that idea, and we had to leave Samorin on Monday, May 19th, and I started kind of looking into it a little bit more, but it seemed like it might not work out because of some logistical stuff. But then I decided to email Belinda Granger from the Challenge family, and she got me in touch with the race promoter in St. Pölten, and then it all kind of worked out. We got accommodation, everything sorted out, and I registered for the race on Tuesday, and we took a train to St. Pölten on Tuesday night, and we just decided to roll with it. And it was kind of like a carpe diem moment where you just kind of like, F it, like I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens. And I'm really happy that I decided to take that opportunity. I really loved Austria. It was a fantastic week there, and I just didn't know how I was gonna feel because I had never raced back-to-back weekends, and it was kind of like a game of like, am I gonna recover, and also how am I gonna make sure that I don't get the cramps? Like, how am I gonna stay active enough to prevent the cramps, but also let my body recover? But overall, I just kind of felt like I had nothing to lose, and I felt more relaxed about this race. I wasn't as nervous. I think I was just so exhausted, so I didn't have time to get too nervous. We get to stay in the sports center with a lot of other professionals, and it was really nice to get to know some people more personally. And then the race day came a lot sooner than I expected. The week just flew by. And also, like the week before, the water was too cold for a full distance swim, so it got shortened to 1500 meters, which wasn't like as bad as shortening to 750 meters. Or I guess to me it was like good that it was shortened a little bit, but not like as beneficial as swimming 750 meters. But what was interesting in this race was that it was done in 2 lakes. The swim was done in 2 lakes. So the main loop was in the bigger lake, and then there you had to run like 200 or 300 meters to the other lake and then swim there too. And the loop in the smaller lake got shortened a little bit. In this race, there was a lot of extra running. So then you had to run from the second lake to transition, which was also like a couple hundred meters. And then in transition, you had to run the whole stadium around with your bike until you got out. And then the same like when you came back for T2. My swim was a disaster in St. Pölten. There was kind of like confusion again in the start procedures. There was kind of a faint sound that I kind of reacted to. And then I thought that maybe it was like that there was supposed to be like another like a louder sound to indicate the start. So I kind of like jumped feet first in the water, and then some people like dove in, and then others didn't dive in. And I kind of stopped in the water because I thought that they were going to like restart the race, but then they didn't. And I saw everyone else just like going there, and I was like, oh my gosh, like like I have to get going. So I had obviously lost all the momentum from the dive, and I had to try to do what I could at that moment, but I panicked big time. And at my current swim level, I don't really have much room for errors like that, so I lost contact to the group and just had to swim it in. But I felt horrible, and I think like panicking plus the cold water plus kind of trying really hard to get myself going again made it really difficult at the beginning. Like my chest hurt, I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I was like kind of like trying to stop and like just like DNF already because I feel so bad. But then I kind of like eased into it a little bit and managed to swim it in. I was far behind, I have to say, and it was kind of demoralizing, and I think I'm a little bit depressed about the fact that I still haven't recovered my swim ability to the level where it was before the accident, which was obviously not amazing then either, but also like it's like I'm still like behind that level. And I think, yeah, it's like you don't win the races in the swim, but you definitely can lose the races in the swim. And I think that's kind of been my destiny lately, that I lose a lot of time in the swim and then try to play catch up during bike and run, and then I finish okay, but not like where I feel like I deserve to be. But anyway, so I get on the bike and start riding, and I just like felt the same kind of bad all day. Like I didn't really find good momentum and good legs. I think I rode okay though. I made up some positions. I rode the 2 big hills in the course quite good. I placed okay in the Strava segments, so I think that's just kind of a testament that I was riding okay considering the situation. This course was just fabulous and just like so beautiful, but I was a little nervous for the descents, and particularly when there was some crosswind at the end of the bike course. And I got to T2 and yeah, started running, and I didn't feel good. I just kind of decided to see what was going to happen. And during the first couple of Ks, it was kind of daunting to think that I still had a full half marathon to do. And it just felt like I was just going for a run. And that's kind of what I was trying to tell myself, that I'm just going for a run. Like, I can always do a run. And it was really windy, and there was sand or kind of like gravel at the beginning of the course, and you go and do a couple laps around some buildings, and just kind of like the wind hits you, and I was just like, oh man, like I have no idea what my position is. And yeah, I think one of my goals for the weekend, even though I didn't really set like major goals because I didn't know how I was gonna feel after already racing the weekend before, but I really wanted to try to qualify for the championship next year, and that means that you have to place top 6 in the race. But at that point, when I was running, I was like, I have no idea, like I'm probably like 10th place or whatever, I don't even know. That swim was so bad. But then I started picking up positions in some point during the final run lap. I feel like I'm moving pretty well, and maybe there's hope that I'm actually placing okay. And then I see Juuso, who is that Finnish pro guy who was also doing the race at the same time, and he's also a coach, so he's obviously like doing his coaching during the race, and he's like screaming at me maybe 3 kilometers before the finish that there is the 3rd place 1 minute up, and I'm trying to do the math how much faster I would have to run to catch up to her, because I heard that she might be fading, but also I wasn't quite sure, so I'm trying to pick up my feet. But I just kind of felt like I couldn't run faster, even though I felt okay, but my body was just kind of like, nope, like this is comfortable, we're not going beyond that. And I finished okay, like I closed well, and then learned at the finish line that I was 4th place indeed. And my first reaction was sadness, like I cried a little bit, even though like I know it's silly, because looking back this past year and all my struggles and coming back from my traffic accident, like 4th place in a pro race, that's amazing. Like I should be really excited about that, and I am now, but I think my kind of reaction came from the fact that I still can't get my swim back, and I'm working so hard, and I work so hard to rehab my shoulder, but I just like mess up the swim all the time, and I'm not at the level where I need to be to get the podium, because of my swim is the limiting factor, and it really like made me sad at the moment. But after thinking about it a little bit, I felt a little bit of embarrassment of like feeling sadness about 4th place finish, because I think it's really cool that I'm capable of racing back-to-back weekends. I didn't cramp up, so 2 races, no cramping. I earned prize money from both of them, and had a great time, met great people, just had a really amazing experience. And overall, like, I'm happy and healthy, and everything is going okay. So I felt ashamed of myself for being so greedy.
30 minutes and 34 seconds. 1st place for Pheeeew.
With a small gap of 10 seconds, on the 4th position, 3-1 lengths, 3:51.16, representing Austria, Lukacs.
And yeah, I'm gonna keep working, and my next race is in Warsaw, and that is June 8th. So we're going to be home for about a week and a half, and then it's time to go again. Right now I'm just really tired and trying to recover. Travel days took a lot out of me, Then we had to go back to Helsinki the day after we got back home because I had to do PT and visit my office. I have to pop in every now and then to do some stuff. So yesterday we were there. Also, I met a shoulder specialist who is helping me to get my shoulder functioning again so that I might be able to swim faster one day. But yeah, now trying to recover, getting back at it this weekend and rolling into another race week. And yeah, I'm excited, even though it's hard and tiring to travel a lot, but I'm also really, really stoked that I get to race this much and I'm capable of racing this much after all struggles. But yeah, I guess those race recaps were not quite detailed. I feel like maybe Samorin recap was a little short, maybe also because I have already forgotten all the stuff. But I think what I need to improve is definitely the swim start. My transitions, because in both races I dropped stuff in the transitions. In St. Pölten I dropped my visor and I had to run back to get it. In Samorin I dropped my gloves and I had to go and get it. So things to improve definitely. What I'm excited about is that I'm running better than I have ever run in 70.3s. I'm capable of racing 2 races in 1 week. That's cool, and it just says that my body's resilient enough to do that. And my nutrition, I'm taking in enough nutrition that helps me to stay in the game, and I feel strong in the run too. No cracking. I just wish that I could run quicker. That's an interesting dilemma, that I feel like there is more energy in the tank than what my body is capable of kind of doing. So I can't run faster, even though I feel like I technically could run faster. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, anyways, that's kind of all about these 2 races. Yeah, back home, loving it. Summer is almost here. It's warmer, sunny. Mornings are super sunny. Waking up every morning and it's just sun coming in. So can't complain. But yeah, thank you for watching and I'll see you the next time.